What's going on, guys? Chris Jones, owner-operator here at Speed of Sound Audio Experts in Somersworth, New Hampshire. I just wanted to talk about something that happened at the shop yesterday. A customer called yesterday morning and said he was looking to get new speakers installed in his, I think it was a 21. It was definitely a Road Glide, but I think it was a 2021. Either way, it was a newer version of a Road Glide. And it just said he didn't like the way his speakers sounded and wanted new speakers. I said, well, we can't just do speakers. We always do speakers in an amp. He said, oh, I already have an amp. And I said, okay, well, bring it down and let's listen to it. So he brought it down yesterday. I listened to it. What he then told me, which I didn't realize, was that a couple weeks ago, another shop had installed an amp and new front speakers. And I thought, well, you don't really need an amp and new front speakers if you already have an amp and new front speakers. So after pulling the fairing off and removing the radio because the amplifier is tucked up underneath the radio, I found that the products were fine. The stuff he had installed, they're not brands that I sell, but there was nothing wrong with the brands that he had. They were totally fine. But whoever installed it didn't tune the amplifier. They literally installed the amplifier and left it the way the amplifier comes from the factory, and maybe turn the gains up a little bit. This thing, when you got to, this had the SoundStream Reserve radio in it. When you got to not even half volume, the speaker started to distort. So that means that obviously he could have turned it up louder and easily blown the speakers. So I tuned the bike. I didn't sell him new speakers. He didn't need new speakers. I tuned the bike and set the crossovers on the amplifier. If you're not familiar with what a crossover is, to kind of make it easy to understand, basically a crossover takes a sound or frequency away from a speaker that the speaker isn't designed to play. 6.5-inch speakers aren't made to play low bass frequencies, and they had this amplifier set to full range, meaning it was playing from the low bass frequencies all the way up to the high frequencies. They're not designed to play low bass frequencies. They're designed to be crossed over, depending on the brand, anywhere from roughly 80 to like 120, 125 hertz. And they didn't do that, which means once you get to a decent volume, those speakers started to distort because they were playing bass that they're not capable of playing, or trying to play bass, I should say, that they're not capable of playing. So we have a tuning device that we use here to test for distortion. We set a frequency on our phone. We play the frequency through the radio. We're then able to basically, like, literally pinpoint when the distortion comes into, out of the amplifier. And we can tweak that back and make sure there's no distortion. We set the radio to full volume, set all of the levels in the radio to full volume, to the highest levels, I should say, and then we tune the amplifier with those levels at that volume, playing a 1000 hertz test tone through the radio. And again, we bring it up to where it's distorting, clipping, whatever you want to call it, and then we tweak it back until that distortion light goes away. I did that. I also set the crossovers on the amplifier so that the crossovers were set, so that they were set to where the speaker works, and the customer left here happy. Customer left here with just an hour of labor to pay for. He was expecting to spend $500, give or take, with a pair of new speakers and installation, and he left here happy. He left here happy with the product that he had already paid for. My point to this video is there are so many brands that everybody wants. Everybody wants this brand, and they want this brand, and they want this brand. And my buddy said this brand is the best, and that brand is the best, and that's all fine. There are so many brands out there that are good, brands that I don't sell that are good. But most important is the shop that installs the product. Above and beyond what brand, you could have a shop that sells the best speaker and amplifier that in the world, and if it's not installed properly, it's never going to sound as good as it should sound. So make sure that the shop you choose to do your installation does motorcycle audio and does it often. I started doing motorcycle audio back in 2016, and I made a lot of mistakes. I thought I was car audio. How can it be any different? It's 100% different. Motorcycle audio is not the same as car audio, and it has to be treated differently. So you can't go into it thinking that you've installed car audio for 30 years like I did, and I'm just going to do it the same way I did it in the cars. Just again, make sure that when you're picking a shop, you're not picking it by the brand of the product that they sell. You're picking your shop by brand, but also how they do their work. Do they tune the amplifier? Do they have the proper tools to tune the amplifier? All of that stuff is so much more important than just getting the best brand on the market. You can get the best brand on the market, and it'll sound like absolute garbage if it's not installed properly. An example of what came in here yesterday. And it should have sounded way better than it did, and the guy thought he needed new speakers. He thought he wasted his money on speakers and was going to buy new speakers from me. He didn't. He didn't waste any money on the product. He wasted money on who installed the product. So just make sure that you choose the right shop. There are many shops out there that do bike audio, lots of good shops. Choose the right shop to do your bike audio installation, not just based off of what brand they sell, but based off of their experience in installing audio in motorcycles. Thanks for watching, guys.